Another episode of Die Hard with a Vengeance. It would be a twist that could only happen in Zimbabwe. We hear that former police commissioner Godwin Matnga decides to show up to work in full uniform, claiming he never received any official communication about his retirement. I mean, come on, it's like showing up to your ex's wedding in a tuxedo and saying, I'm just here for the cake. Now, we see the police spokesperson, Commissioner Paul Nyati, would address this, and he had to step in to clarify the situation. He would say that Matanga has officially left the building. Sorry folks, no encore performance tonight. Nyati described Matanga's claims as totally false, which is a nice way of saying, you are not getting that job back, buddy. You know it's bad when your boss has to issue a statement that sounds like a breakup text. It's not you, it's us. We have moved on. And speaking of moving on, Nyati also mentioned that the new Commissioner General of the Police, Stephen Mutamba, has taken full command. No hurdles. So if you thought there was going to be a dramatic power struggle like in those action movies, think again. This is more like a corporate takeover without fancy boardroom brawls. But wait, there is more. Nyati also had to address rumors about a support unit called Romeo Troop being on standby. He said, contrary to the allegations, there is no support unit on standby. So, if you were hoping for a police version of the Avengers, you might want to adjust your expectations. I guess they're just going with the classic, let's not escalate this approach. And here is where it gets really spicy. Nyati issued a warning to anyone trying to stay up trouble within the police force. He said decisive criminal action will be taken against those sowing discord. Wow, now this sounds serious. I can just picture it now. You want to cause chaos? Well, we have got handcuffs and we will know how to use them. So folks, let this be a lesson. If you're planning on showing up to work after retirement, maybe leave the uniform at home, or at least bring some donuts, as a peace offering. In conclusion, remember, always check your email for those retirement letters, because in this game of life, if you don't get the memo, well, let's just say it could lead to some awkward moments at the office. Thank you for joining us.
Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening?
Now, in what we thought was going to be another episode of...
My name is Dr. Clarence and welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the hottest and top trending topics, broadcasting live and direct from Zimbabwe, Africa. Now we see the Zimbabwe Republic Police there responding to the Commissioner Matanga Standoff Hogwash. Now this response is very worrying and very disturbing. Of course, they are saying what's being claimed never happened. As they would put it, they say he would nicely walk out of his office without any resistance. So yesterday we saw the speculation because there was a huge standoff there, and there was massive guys from the support unit are waiting to take action should the man keep on resisting. But no, Mr. Nyati would say, Ayewa, that didn't happen. Now, kuramba nyaya kuti haina kuitika is not the worrying part. The worrying part, here the police are saying, the worrying part is when we hear them now almost literally saying, we have our handcuffs and we know how to use our handcuffs, to those who are creating those creative journalism stories. Right? So it's not responsible, however, to create false stories. If they are false stories, if it's creative journalism, then there is no problem. Enough respect to Obet Madziwa. However,
a national police should not be moved by such big issues which are of no impact or impact, right? And at the same time, they have to be speaking on it. They cannot remain silent. And when they do speak on it, what do? We do speak on it. So it seems in Africa, it never rains, but pause. Speaking of rains and pause, we're seeing in today's news day, the cover page is saying Zimbabwe food crisis set to worsen. So we're going to dive in there also to see what are they saying. But before we go on the issue of food crisis, we're going to go over to the nation of Zambia, where we see a police officer would release prisoners or jailees as a New Year present. How would this happen? Why would this happen? And do things like that do happen? Like on this one, this one is a new one. Enough respect to everybody who is watching us live right about now. To those watching us live, you can write your comment in the top chat or in the super chat. That is how I can get to see your names, so I can give you a shout out. Big up to those watching us live. Can you confirm if you can hear me loudly and clearly? Can you just confirm if you can hear me loudly and clearly? So, what does do happen there in the nation of Zambia? Now picture this. It's New Year's Eve and Detective Inspector Titus Piri is feeling festive, maybe a little too festive. Reports say he was in a state of intoxication. And when we say intoxicated, we mean he probably thought he was the life of the party at Leonard Chilo police station in Lusaka, in a move that could only be described as let's get this party started. Now he would decide to liberate 18 suspects, talking about liberation without no struggle, but struggle after liberation. So he would liberate 18 suspects from their cells. Yes, you heard me right. It is said that he forcibly seized the keys from Constable Sarah Banda, because who needs a key card when you are on a mission to spread holiday cheer, right? Now, these weren't just any suspects. We are talking about individuals accused of serious crimes like assault, robbery, and burglary. Let me rephrase it. Serious crimes like serious assault, serious robbery, and serious burglary. But Serious Piri had one thing on his seemingly not serious mind. He would say, "You are now free to cross over to the new year. Be blessed, my children." Now, who knew that being a cop came with such a generous open door policy? Now, this is another type of corruption in we are seeing here. The imwe corruption ya imwe mhando ye corruption ya turi kuona kuitika hapa. So out of the 15 detainees, 13 took their chance and ran faster than you can say Happy New Year. Meanwhile, our dear Inspector Piri decided it was time to make his own escape. Talk about a great getaway. Now that is a very disturbing. We see him
After freeing them, he would try to make his own escape. Hey. As if that wasn't enough comedy for one night, former presidential spokesperson Dickson Jerry claimed in on Facebook, chuckling at the absurdity of it all. And he would recall an incident from 1997 when Judge Kabazo Chanda released 53 suspects because justice delayed is justice denied. These guys would have been arrested in 1992 without any trial. So it seems this isn't the first time Zambian law enforcement has had a let's party moment. Now, the manhunt for the 13 escapees is underway. It is underway. And I guess these guys celebrated their New Year on the run. They can basically put it in their diary that we celebrated New Year on the run. Now, and let's be honest, if you are going to break out of jail, New Year's Eve is probably the best night for it. Just don't forget to send a thank you card to Detective Piri. So, here's to hoping that Inspector Piri finds his way back to the station, and maybe next time he will stick to sparkling water instead of champagne. Right, so we see the judge there from Botswana there would speak about 1997. I think he was just trying to lighten the moment. Things like that can do happen. I don't know how drunk people do get, because I do not get drunk myself. Of course, I drink whiskey here and there, not to get drunk. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right now. I think this Inspector Piri, maybe he took reference from the 1997 justice delayed is justice denied. And what would he do now? He would think that because the arrest of these guys took a long time, so it was justice delayed, so it's justice denied. So let's just free these guys. I hope that will be not an argument in court. In courts. Big up to everybody who's watching us live. Later, Mshonga says you're clear. Thank you very much. Explorer TV says, Volume Boo. Volume Bo. Good morning, doctor, watching from Johannesburg, South Africa. How is it down there in Johannesburg, South Africa? How did you celebrate the new year? Makai pemberera seiko new year e. Makai pemberera muchipemberera ere muchifara. All right. Now, before I do sign out, let's see what this is saying in today's news day that is talking about Zimbabwe food crisis set to worsen. Is this a prophecy? Is this a scientific observation? What is it that we're going to find in this conversation? To those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can get to see your names, so I can give you my shout out. And also, to those watching us live right about now, make sure you click the like button. Just because you can, and it also helps our videos go far. Remember, it's you who makes this castle great. Button kete. Even if you don't like the video, just click the like button. Okay. Just be corrupt for once. Dimadi zenyu. Nungu tanya mbichana so. Ha! Ininiwo food. Alright. Anyways, now ndapindwa nesasa reku Zambia. Rekuti justice delayed is justice denied. I'm meditating. Am I wasting time before jumping into the story? Okay. This is the moments we have together right about now. So, they would say this. The food shortages affecting more than half of the country's population will continue during the lean period after Zimbabwe experiencing a delayed onset of the rain, with most areas receiving below to average rain. Okay, this is very disturbing. As we continue, I'm going to comment on it. We are seeing a forecast that Zimbabwe food crisis to worsen. We have market gardening crops like peas and baby carrots, which takes 30 days from planting to harvest. In terms of maize, we have maize which takes just 3 months to harvest. I don't know how our agriculture sector is being run. Is it running, or people are running away from it? A significant number of areas across the country are yet to receive meaningful rains, with some crops already a write-off due to high temperatures. Some farmers have been forced to replant their fields, and there has been a marked increase in the number of villagers failing to access more seeds due to financial constraints. So what I can say is this: anybody who is serious in agriculture, the rains that we have so far in 2024, from the first day, a farmer who knows what they are doing, their crops are doing well right about now. You need to know when to plant. You need to engage in madumeni enyu. That is if kanavariko, if they do still exist. You can know kuti mvura iri kunaya musi wakati, kwakati, millimeters akati for the entire year. All that data is out there. Now, this is very disturbing. In fact, the Meteorological Services Department should just Google and publish it in the newspapers, in the Herald, and give farmers free copies. Okay, it's like NASA will be doing all that.
As the new Commissioner General of the Zimbabwe Republic Police.
Now, if you think waiting for your favorite TV show to get renewed is easy, try waiting for this appointment. It has been simmering since 2018. At this point, I am convinced they are just dragging it out just for the ratings. Next season's plot twist, and the new commissioner is still in the audition phase. It's been an open secret that President Emerson Mnangagwa had his eyes set on Mutamba. You could say it was more obvious than a cat in a dog park. And let's be honest, when the president has a favorite, it's like being picked first for dodgeball. Unless you are Matanga, who has been holding down the fort since December 2017, he will officially step aside on December 31, 2024. Talk about a New Year's resolution. Now, let's take a stroll down memory lane. Matanga will take office after Augustine Sihuri is ousted following the ousting of Robert Mugabe in the infamous November 2017 coup. It was more like a game of musical chairs, but with more drama and fewer party heads.
Matanga joined the police force back in 1982, back when going viral meant catching a cold from your neighbor.
He has been around longer than some of our smartphones. And here comes Mutamba, who was reassigned from crime to operations in 2019. It's like moving from the front lines to the break room. Hey, I used to fight crime. Now I am just fighting for coffee. But wait, there is more. In January 2021, he switched Matanga from operations to administrations. It's like swapping places with your boss during a game of office charades. Now here is where it gets juicy. Mutamba has been slapped with US sanctions for allegedly undermining Zimbabwe's democratic processes. The US said he took actions that threaten legitimate political parties. Sounds like someone needs to take a crash course. Sounds like someone needs to take a crash course in Democracy 101. In 2020, he supported the security services' use of pressure on opposing figures. Talk about being the ultimate party pooper. And if that wasn't enough, in 2021, he suggested that vote tallies not be displayed outside polling locations and that international observers should stay home. I mean, come on. That's like saying you don't want anyone watching your cooking show because you are afraid they will judge your burnt toast. So as we prepare for Mutamba to take over on January 1, 2025, let's hope he brings more than just experience, maybe a sense of humor and some popcorn for all.
With a vengeance, it would be a twist that could only happen in Zimbabwe. We hear that former police commissioner Godwin Matnga decides to show up to work in full uniform, claiming he never received any official communication about his retirement. I mean, come on, it's like showing up to your ex's wedding in a tuxedo and saying, I'm just here for the cake. Now, we see the police spokesperson, Commissioner Paul Nyati, would address this, and he had to step in to clarify the situation. He would say that Matanga has officially left the building. Sorry folks, no encore performance tonight. Nyati described Matanga's claims as totally false, which is a nice way of saying, you are not getting that job back, buddy. You know it's bad when your boss has to issue a statement that sounds like a breakup text. It's not you, it's us. We have moved on. And speaking of moving on, Nyati also mentioned that the new Commissioner General of the Police, Stephen Mutamba, has taken full command, no hurdles. So if you thought there was going to be a dramatic power struggle like in those action movies, think again. This is more like a corporate takeover without fancy boardroom brawls. But wait, there is more. Nyati also had to address rumors about a support unit called Romeo Troop being on standby. He said, contrary to the allegations, there is no support unit on standby. So, if you were hoping for a police version of the Avengers, you might want to adjust your expectations. I guess they're just going with the classic, let's not escalate this approach. And here is where it gets really spicy. Nyati issued a warning to anyone trying to stir up trouble within the police force. He said decisive criminal action will be taken against those sowing discord. Wow, now this sounds serious. I can just picture it now. You want to cause chaos? Well, we have got handcuffs and we will know how to use them. So folks, let this be a lesson. If you're planning on showing up to work after retirement, maybe leave the uniform at home, or at least bring some donuts, you know, as a peace offering. In conclusion, remember, always check your email for those retirement letters, because in this game of life, if you don't get the memo, well, let's just say it could lead to some awkward moments at the office. Thank you for joining us. Now, in what we thought